The stars looked normal that night. Dr. Jung Kim yawned as he checked the readings from the Deep Space Station. Another quiet shift at the Korean Space Institute was ending. For 30 years, he had watched the skies, and for 30 years, nothing unusual had happened. Dr. Kim, could you look at this? Subin Park pointed at her screen. She was new, only 2 years at the station, but she had sharp eyes. June walked over slowly. He was tired and wanted to go home. What is it? These readings near Neptune. They've changed again. June looked at the numbers and frowned. For 3 weeks, the sensors near Neptune had been showing strange patterns, small changes in gravity, tiny shifts in radiation. Nothing big, but not normal either. It's just the equipment, he said. These sensors are old. We need new ones. Subin shook her head. I checked the equipment yesterday. It's working fine. Then it's a space rock or gas pocket. June patted her shoulder. Don't worry about it. But Subin did worry. After June left, she stayed late. She pulled up the readings from the last month and put them together. When she saw the pattern, her heart beat faster. The changes were happening in a regular way. Too regular. Nature didn't work like that. Something, or someone, was out there. Far beyond Neptune, hidden behind the planet's blue mass, the Velari High Command ship hovered silently. Inside, Commander Elzik studied the hologram of Earth. They still don't know we're here, said his second, Trazik. 30 years of watching, and they haven't spotted us once. Humans are blind to what they don't expect to see, Elzik replied. The commander's skin glowed faintly blue in the darkroom. Are the reports ready? Trazik handed him a datapad. Yes. We've mapped all their military bases. We know their weapons, their defenses, their weaknesses, and their governments. Divided, constantly fighting among themselves. Some are at war right now. Elzik nodded with satisfaction. Perfect. What about the resource scan? Beyond our expectations, Trazik said, eyes bright with excitement. Earth has everything we need. Water, rare minerals, and the biological diversity is remarkable. One planet with more resources than the last 3 systems we conquered. The commander walked to the viewing window. Earth was just a small blue dot from here, but soon it would be theirs. Begin the final phase, he ordered. Position our scout ships. Prepare the first contact message. Commander, Trazik hesitated. Some of our scientists have concerns about the humans. What concerns? They are primitive. Their technology is centuries behind ours. Yes, but their minds work differently. They are unpredictable. They make decisions that don't follow logical patterns. Elzik waved his hand dismissively. That makes them weak, not strong. Logic is power. Their emotions make them easy to manipulate. As you say, Commander. Back on Earth, Subin couldn't sleep. The data patterns kept running through her mind. At 3 a.m., she gave up and called June. This better be important, he grumbled, his face tired on the video screen. I think something's out there, she said. Something big. Subin, please, just look at what I found. She sent him the files. There was silence as he reviewed them. His expression changed from annoyed to confused to concerned. This pattern, he finally said. It's artificial. Yes, but that would mean someone is hiding behind Neptune. Subin finished his thought. Someone who doesn't want us to know they're there. June's face went pale. I'll call the director. Come back to the station right away. As Subin rushed to get dressed, news alerts flashed across her phone. Strange signals were being detected worldwide. All TV channels, radio stations, and internet connections were experiencing interference. By the time she reached her car, the interference had stopped. Instead, on every screen around the world, the same message appeared. People of Earth, we come in peace. We are the Velari, and we wish to share our knowledge with you. The peace that Earth had known was about to end. Humanity just didn't know it yet. The world changed overnight. Every screen on Earth showed the same face, tall, with skin that glowed like moonlight and eyes too large for comfort. The Velari ambassador called himself Nozick. "We have watched your progress for many years," Nozick said in perfect English. "We believe it is time to help you reach the stars." In Seoul, world leaders gathered quickly. The Grand Hotel buzzed with activity as presidents, prime ministers, and kings arrived with their advisors. The United Earth Defense Council, a group that had never done much before, suddenly became important. Taehyun Choi wasn't supposed to be in the big meetings. As a junior diplomat, his job was to take notes and bring coffee. But he listened carefully and noticed things others missed. "The translation is too perfect," he said to himself as he watched Nozick speak on the screen. The alien's mouth moved strangely compared to the words everyone heard. In the main conference room, General Haijin Kang stood before the world leaders. Her uniform was crisp, her face serious. "We need to be careful," she warned. "We know nothing about the Velari except what they tell us." The American president laughed. "They're offering us cures for diseases and clean energy. What's to be careful about?" "Everything," Haijin said firmly. "Everything is to be careful about." Most leaders ignored her. They were excited about Velari technology and the promise of peace. After the meeting, Taehyun found General Haijin alone in the hallway. "Excuse me, General," he said, bowing slightly. "I noticed something strange about the Velari communications." Haijin looked at him closely. "What's your name?" "Taehyun Choi, junior diplomatic assistant." "What did you notice?" Taehyun Choi. He pulled out his tablet. "I recorded all the Velari broadcasts and analyzed them. The translation doesn't match their mouth movements. But it's more than that. Watch here." He played a clip where Nozick talked about sharing medical knowledge. "See how his eyes shift right before he mentions Earth's diseases? That's a human gesture for hiding something. But he's not human." Haijin's eyes narrowed. "You're saying they studied us well enough to copy our body language, but made a mistake?" "Yes. And there's more." Taehyun swiped to another screen. "They say they just arrived, but the signal strength from their ships has been steady for weeks. They were here before they announced themselves." General Haijin took his tablet. "Who have you told about this?" "No one. Everyone is too busy being happy about new technology." "Good. Keep it that way." She handed him a small card. "Come to this address tonight. Bring everything you found." High above Earth, Velari scout ships moved into position. They looked like stars to anyone watching from the ground. "The humans have accepted our presence without question," Trazik reported to Commander Elzik. "Their leaders are eager for our technology." Elzik studied the holographic map showing their ships surrounding Earth. "Are the monitoring devices in place?" "Yes, Commander. Every gift we've promised contains observation tools. We'll know their military capabilities, communication systems, and resource locations within months." "And the weapon platforms?" "Disguised as research stations, the humans believe they're cultural observation posts." Elzik's mouth formed what passed for a smile among the Velari. "Begin Phase 2. Offer them the medical technologies first. The humans are sentimental about saving lives. Some of them show signs of suspicion," Trazik noted. "Their military leaders ask many questions." "That's to be expected," Elzik said calmly. "Identify those individuals. When the time comes, they will be the first removed." That night, Taehyun went to the address General Haijin had given him. It was an old building near the Han River. Inside, he found not only the general but also Dr. Jun Kim and Subin Park from the Space Institute. "Good you came," Haijin said. "Meet the only other people who share your concerns." Jun nodded at the young diplomat. "We tracked the Velari ships before they contacted Earth. They were hiding, watching us. Why would friendly visitors hide?" Subin added. Taehyun looked at the three serious faces. "What do we do now?" "We watch them," General Haijin said, "while they think they're watching us. And we prepare for what happens when the smiles stop and their true purpose is revealed." Outside, a Velari scout ship passed silently overhead, its cameras recording everything below. 6 months passed. The world changed fast. Velari gifts were everywhere. Hospital patients smiled as new medicines cured their sicknesses. Farmers watched their crops grow twice as big with Velari farming methods. Cities ran on clean energy from small Velari power boxes. But these gifts came with a price. We only ask for small things in return. Nozick, the Velari ambassador, told world leaders, reduce your militaries. Share some of your natural resources. Simple exchanges between friends. Most countries agreed quickly. Who needed large armies when the Velari promised peace? Who minded sharing resources when they got amazing technology in return? Dr. Jum Kim now worked in a special lab with Velari scientists. They seemed friendly, always willing to explain their advanced ideas. But something felt wrong. One night, Jun stayed late in the lab. The Velari had gone, leaving their computers on. He noticed a strange pattern in the data streams, extra information hidden in regular transmissions. Jun copied the data onto a small drive. His hand shook as he slipped it into his pocket. "You're sure about this?" Subin Park asked. They sat in a small room below the Defense Council building. General Hygen had made it secure. No cameras, no microphones, no way for anyone to listen in. "Yes," Jun said. "I decoded part of it. The Velari are collecting information on all our remaining military bases, power plants, and government centers." Taehyun frowned. "That's not all. Their cultural observation posts are not what they seem." He showed them pictures taken by ordinary people around the world. The Velari had built tall towers in many countries, saying they were for studying human culture. Taehyun pointed to strange devices on each tower. "These aren't cultural tools. They're weapons." General Hygen studied the images. "How can you be sure?" "I got help from a friend who works at the North American tower site. He took close-up pictures of the components. They match weapon systems described in the Velari technical manuals, the parts they thought they didn't share with us." Jun connected his drive to the computer. "And there's more. Those medical devices they gave us, the farming tools, the power boxes, they're all watching us." He showed them scans of Velari technology. Hidden inside each gift were small devices that recorded and transmitted information. "They're in our hospitals, our farms, our power plants," Subin said quietly. "Everywhere." "But why?" Taehyun asked. "If they wanted to attack, they could have done it already." Jun shook his head. "They're being careful. Earth is valuable. They want our resources intact. And they're waiting until we're completely defenseless," General Hygen added. "Each treaty, each agreement has reduced human military power while positioning their forces across the planet." "We need to warn people," Subin said. "With what proof?" General Hygen asked. "Most people are happy with Velari gifts. World leaders won't listen without solid evidence." Jun held up his drive. "Then we need to get more evidence. I found a way to access their main communication network, if we can download their actual plans." A loud boom shook the building above them. Then another. The lights flickered. What was that? Taehyun ran to the small window high on the wall. The night sky over Seoul glowed orange. General Hygen's phone buzzed. She answered, listened, and her face went pale. "It's happening," she said. "The Velari are attacking, simultaneously in major cities worldwide." "But why now?" Subin asked. "We haven't done anything." Jun's face darkened with understanding. "It's my fault. They must have detected my download. I triggered their attack." "No," General Hygen said firmly. "This is too organized, too large. They've been planning this for months. We just ran out of time." Another explosion rocked the building. Dust fell from the ceiling. "We need to get out of here," General Hygen said. "Now." The false peace is over. Above them, Seoul burned as Velari ships emerged from the clouds, their weapons turning the city's peace into ashes. The sky burned red over Seoul. Villari ships, once hidden behind clouds and false friendship, now filled the air. Their weapons turned buildings to dust. This way, General Haijin led the group through underground tunnels beneath the Defense Council building. Explosions above made dust fall around them. "What about the others upstairs?" Subin asked, coughing through the dust. "Too late," Haijin said, her voice hard but her eyes showing pain. The first attack hit the command center directly. Jun checked his phone. It's not just Seoul. New York, Moscow, Beijing, all under attack at the same time. They reached a heavy metal door. Haijin entered a code, and it opened to reveal a small garage with a military truck. "Get in," she ordered. "We have a safe place in the mountains." As they drove through the city, they saw the full horror of the betrayal. Buildings fallen, streets cracked open, people running in terror as Villari ground troops marched through the ruins. "They look different," Taeyeon said, watching the alien soldiers, "not like the friendly faces on our screens." The Villari troops were taller, with harder faces and skin that glowed red instead of blue. They carried weapons that turned whatever they hit into ash. "They showed us what they wanted us to see," Jun said bitterly. The truck sped out of the city. On the highway, they passed burned cars and frightened people walking away from Seoul. "The military," Subin asked, "can't they fight back?" Haijin gripped the steering wheel tightly. "Most of our weapons were shut down months ago, part of the peace agreement. The few that still work are being jammed by Villari signals." "They planned everything," Taeyeon said quietly, "while we welcomed them with open arms." Commander Elzik watched Earth burn from his ship high above the planet. Reports came in from all fronts. North American defense systems neutralized. Asian command centers destroyed. European resistance minimal. Trazik approached with a satisfied look. "The plan worked perfectly, Commander. Their militaries fell in ours. Most never fired a single shot." "Casualties?" Elzik asked. "Minimal among our forces, heavy for the humans, but most are surrendering now." Elzik nodded. "The resource centers, secured and undamaged, as you ordered. The mining can begin immediately." "Good. Begin Phase 4. Put the humans to work. I want shipments of minerals within the week." Trazik hesitated. "There are reports of small pockets of resistance. Some military units survived in remote areas." Elzik waved dismissively. "Find them. Crush them. Without their major weapons or unified command, they are nothing." The truck climbed steep mountain roads as night fell. They passed military checkpoints, all abandoned or destroyed. "Where are we going?" Jun asked. "Somewhere they don't know about," Haijin answered. "A facility built during the old wars. It doesn't appear on any modern maps." After many hours, they reached what looked like a simple mountain cabin. Haijin stopped the truck and led them inside. The wooden floor opened to reveal stairs leading deep underground. "Welcome to Haven," Haijin said as they descended into a large underground base. People worked at computers. Maps covered walls. Military personnel and civilians moved with purpose. "You prepared for this," Subin said, looking around in surprise. "I hoped I was wrong," Haijin replied. "But yes, I prepared. A few of us did." A soldier approached. "General, we've made contact with other survivors. Small groups in the Rockies, the Alps, the Andes. Military units that were on training exercises away from bases." "And the government?" Taeyeon asked. The soldier's face fell. "Gone. All major government centers were hit first." Jun looked at the maps showing Villari positions across Earth. "So that's it. We've lost." General Haijin's eyes flashed with determination. "No, we've lost a battle, not the war. Humanity has faced extinction before. We survived. We adapted." She turned to face all three of them. "Jun, I need your scientific knowledge. Subin, your ability to connect patterns. Taeyeon, Your understanding of the Velari. For what? Taehyun asked. To take back our planet, Hyjin said simply. The Velari think they've won. They think humans are easy to defeat once our technology is gone. She smiled grimly. It's time to show them how wrong they are. 3 months passed since the Velari attack. Earth had changed. Humans now worked in mines and factories, taking out Earth's resources for the aliens. Armed Velari guards watched over them day and night. Deep in the Korean mountains, Haven grew stronger. What started as a small group hiding underground had become the heart of human resistance. Jun worked in his lab, surrounded by broken Velari technology. For weeks, he had studied the alien devices, learning their secrets. I think I found something, he told Subin, who helped him with his work. He pointed to a small part inside a Velari communication device. See how it glows when active. All their technology uses the same frequencies. Why does that matter? Subin asked. Because it might be their weakness, Jun said. Their ships, weapons, even their armor, all connected through these frequencies. If we could disrupt them. General Hyjin entered the lab. In 3 months, she had built an army from survivors. Her face looked tired but determined. Any progress? She asked. Maybe, Jun said. But we need more Velari tech to test my theory. Hyjin nodded. Taehyun just returned from a mission. He brought something you should see. In the main command room, Taehyun waited with a small metal cube. His clothes were dirty, and a fresh cut marked his face. This better be worth it, he said as the others entered. I lost 2 good people getting this out of the Velari base. What is it? Subin asked. A data core, Taehyun explained. It stores information the Velari don't transmit openly. My contact inside their administration building said it's important. Jun connected the cube to his computer. Strange symbols filled the screen. I can't read their language, he said. I can help with that, said a woman stepping forward. I've been studying their communications. Her name was Minji, a linguist who had escaped the attack on Seoul. For weeks, she had listened to Velari transmissions, learning their language. Give me time, she said, looking at the symbols. I can translate this. 3 days later, they gathered again. Minji had dark circles under her eyes, but she smiled. I've translated enough to understand what this is, she said. It's a report about humans, about why the Velari fear us. They fear us. Taehyun asked in surprise. They destroyed our cities and ours. They fear something about us, Minji explained. Something they don't understand. She showed them translated sections of the report. Human neural patterns remain unpredictable. Test subjects continue to make choices that defy logical analysis. This unpredictability poses unknown risks to Velari evolutionary stability. Jun read the words carefully. They think differently than we do. More logically. Exactly, Minji said. They evolved without what we call intuition or creativity. They can't understand how we make mental leaps or why we sometimes choose based on feelings instead of facts. That's why they attacked us. Subin asked. Because we're different. Partly, Minji answered. They wanted our resources, but they also saw us as a potential threat. A species that thinks in ways they can't predict. General Hyjin's eyes lit up. Then we have a weapon they don't expect. What weapon? Taehyun asked. Us, she said simply. Our humanity. Our ability to think in ways they can't understand. That night, Subin couldn't sleep. She walked through Haven's tunnels, thinking about what they had learned. She found Taehyun in the communications room, monitoring Velari transmissions. Do you think we have a chance? She asked him. Taehyun looked up. Against their technology. Their numbers. Their weapons. He paused. Logically, no. But humans aren't always logical. He smiled slightly. That's what scares them. Subin sat beside him. We need to use that. We need to build a network, connect with other resistance groups. How? The Velari monitor all communications. Not all of them, Subin said. Before the attack, I studied their surveillance patterns. There are gaps, ways to send messages they won't detect. Taehyun looked at her with new respect. You think you can build a resistance network? I know I can, Subin said. And when we're connected, we'll show the Velari why they were right to fear how humans think. In his lab, Jum made a breakthrough with the Velari technology. In her office, Hyjin planned impossible attacks. All across Haven, humans prepared to fight back. The resistance had formed. Jun hadn't slept in 2 days. The Velari data core held secrets he needed to understand. With Minji's help translating, he dug deeper into the alien information. Look at this, he said, pointing to his screen. The small room in Haven was now his permanent lab. Wires and broken Velari devices covered every surface. Subin and Taehyun leaned closer. General Hyjin stood back, arms crossed. These are brain scans, Jun explained. The Velari studied human brains and compared them to their own. The screen showed colorful images of brains. Human brains lit up in many places, while Velari brains showed activity in fewer, more organized patterns. Their brains work differently, Jun said. They process information in straight lines. Problem, analysis, solution. Always the same path. And humans? Asked Subin. We jump around. We connect ideas that don't seem related. We use emotion and intuition alongside logic. Jun tapped the screen. To them, our thinking looks chaotic, unpredictable. Taehyun frowned. But they're more advanced than us. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours. Yes, Jun agreed. But they developed along a single path, pure logic and order. They never had our messy creativity. General Hyjin stepped forward. How does this help us fight them? Jun smiled for the first time in days. Because they can't predict what they don't understand. Their battle computers analyze all possible logical moves, but they miss the illogical ones. You mean they won't expect us to do something crazy, Taehyun said. Exactly. And there's more. Jun pulled up another file. Remember how I said their technology all uses the same frequencies? That's because they found the most efficient way to do it. And they all use that one way. No backup systems. Hyjin asked, her military mind immediately seeing the weakness. No need in their thinking. Why have a backup when the primary system is perfect? Jun shook his head. They don't plan for failure like we do. Subin suddenly understood. So if we hit those frequencies, we could disrupt everything they have. Jun finished. That night, they held a meeting with all Haven leaders. People crowded into the main room. Soldiers, scientists, civilians who had joined the resistance. General Hyjin stood before them, her voice strong despite her tiredness. We now understand our enemy better, she said. The Velari are not invincible. They have weaknesses, not in their technology, but in how they think. She explained what they had learned from the data core. Murmurs spread through the crowd. But how do we use this? Asked a former army captain. We're still outnumbered and outgunned. By fighting in ways they can't predict. Hyjin answered. Dr. Kim will explain. Jun stepped forward, nervous to speak to so many people. He held up a small device he had built. This can disrupt Velari communication frequencies, he said. Not for long, and not over a large area. But it's a start. Meanwhile, Subin added, my network has contacted resistance groups worldwide. We're sharing information, coordinating efforts. And I've gathered intelligence on Velari patrol patterns, Taehyun said. They follow exact schedules. Never changing, never adapting unless ordered to. General Hyjin took control again. Here's what we do. Small, unpredictable attacks. Hit and run tactics. Actions that make no logical sense to them. She pointed to a map showing Velari mining operations. We don't attack their biggest facilities where they expect resistance. We hit the small ones they think aren't worth protecting. We don't try to destroy their ships, Taehyun added. We target their fuel lines in ways their security protocols don't watch for. The room filled with energy as people began to understand. We use what makes us human, Subin said. Our creativity, our unpredictability, our willingness to try things that might not work. A young soldier spoke up. But we'll still lose people. We'll take casualties they won't. Yes, General Hygen said honestly. But remember what's in that data core. The Velari fear us because they can't understand us. And what they fear, they can't defeat, Jun finished. Throughout Haven, people began preparing. Scientists worked on Jun's disruption devices. Soldiers trained for unusual tactics. Communication experts connected with other resistance cells. For the first time since the invasion, humans had hope. Not because they were stronger, but because they were different. Because they were human. Operation Dreamwalker begins tonight, General Hygen told her commanders. The underground room was filled with resistance leaders from around the world, connected through Subin's secure network. 3 weeks had passed since they discovered the Velari weakness. Now they were ready to strike back. Remember, Hygen continued, our strength is unpredictability. Do not follow normal military tactics. Do the unexpected. Across the screen, resistance leaders nodded. Each had their assigned targets: small Velari outposts, supply lines, communication towers. Taehyun stepped forward. My team will infiltrate the Seoul Administration Center. We have someone inside who can get us past the outer guards. And my network is ready, Subin added. Once the action starts, we'll send confusing messages through their systems. Jun held up his newest creation. Each team gets 3 disruptors. They'll work for 8 minutes each. Use them wisely. General Hygen looked at the determined faces around her. Humanity doesn't win by being stronger today. We win by being human. Commander Elzik studied reports in his ship above Earth. After 5 months of occupation, resistance was growing. Small attacks damaged Velari operations. Equipment disappeared. Communications failed unexpectedly. The pattern makes no sense, he told Trezik. Look at these attack sites. The map showed seemingly random strikes across the planet. There's no strategic value to half these targets, Trezik said, confused. Why attack a small fuel depot when there's a weapons facility nearby? Why hit communication relays but leave power stations untouched? It's deliberate, Elzik realized. They're being unpredictable on purpose. A red alert flashed on his screen. Simultaneous attacks had begun worldwide. Put all forces on high alert, Elzik ordered. Deploy the prediction algorithms. Taehyun led his small team through the back entrance of the Seoul Administration Building. Their contact, a human who worked cleaning the facility, had given them guard schedules. Remember, Taehyun whispered, do nothing they would expect. When they reached the first guard post, instead of hiding or fighting, they walked openly toward it. The Velari guard stared in confusion at humans approaching with their hands empty, smiling. That moment of confusion was enough. One team member activated Jun's disruptor. The guard's weapon and communication device went dead. Their systems are linked to central control, Taehyun explained as they tied up the guard. They never considered that a weakness because it's the most efficient design. They'd reached the central data room. While 2 team members downloaded information, Taehyun planted special devices Jun had created, not bombs, but signal generators that would feed false information into the Velari network. Across the planet, similar scenes played out. In North America, resistance fighters drove trucks directly at Velari checkpoints. But the trucks contained nothing dangerous, only loud music players that confused Velari sensors. In Europe, attackers approached from upwind, knowing Velari couldn't smell them coming. A detail learned from the data core about their weak sense of smell. In Australia, fighters used old, non-electronic weapons that didn't register on Velari scans. Each attack seemed random, illogical. The Velari couldn't predict where humans would strike next or how. In Haven's command center, Subin monitored communications. It's working, she told General Hyjin. Their systems are overwhelmed trying to find patterns in our attacks. Taehyun's team has planted the devices, reported another operator. The false data is flowing into Velari networks. June burst into the room, excited. The disruption devices are working better than expected. The Velari have no backup systems. When their technology fails, they don't know what to do. General Hyjin allowed herself a small smile. And Phase 2. Beginning now, Subin said. On his ship, Commander Elzik watched in growing alarm as reports flooded in. Velari forces were failing across the planet, not because they were being destroyed, but because they were confused. The prediction algorithms can't find a pattern, Trazik reported, his voice showing rare emotion. The humans are acting randomly. Not randomly. Elzik realized too late. They're acting human. A new alert flashed. Something was happening to their orbital defense platforms. Sir, Trazik said in disbelief, the humans are attacking our ships with our own defense systems. Elzik stared at the screen as human-controlled signals redirected Velari weapons to fire on Velari ships. How is this possible? He demanded. How could they have turned our perfect system against us? The answer came as his ship trembled from the first impact. They did what no logical species would ever do. Commander Elzik's ship shook again as another blast hit it. Red warning lights flashed everywhere. Get our ships away from the defense platforms, he ordered. Shut down all automated systems. But it was too late. The humans had infected the Velari network with commands that turned their own weapons against them. Ships that had once dominated Earth's skies now fled from their own defense systems. We need to crush this resistance now, Elzik said, his voice cold with anger. Find their base. Use all remaining ships to destroy it. In Haven, cheers filled the command center as they watched Velari ships scrambling to escape their own weapons. It's working better than we hoped, Subin said, watching the data streams. They're confused, June added. Their systems were never designed to handle this kind of chaos. But General Hyjin's face remained serious. They'll regroup, and they'll come looking for us with everything they have. As if answering her words, the radar screen lit up with warnings. Multiple Velari warships approaching the mountains, reported a young operator. They're following our communication signals. They found us, Taehyun said quietly. He had returned just an hour ago from his mission to Seoul. General Hyjin nodded calmly. Right on schedule. The others looked at her in surprise. You expected this? June asked. I counted on it, Hyjin replied. Operation Dreamwalker isn't just about confusing them. It's about bringing them to us, on our terms. She turned to a communications officer. Signal all mountain units. Spring the trap. The Velari ships approached the Korean mountains in perfect attack formation. Below them, sensors detected a large underground facility, the heart of the human resistance. We have them, Trazik told Commander Elzik. Their main base is hidden beneath these mountains. Destroy it completely, Elzik ordered. No survivors. The ships locked weapons on the mountain. But as they prepared to fire, their sensors suddenly went blank. What's happening? Elzik demanded. Some kind of interference, Trazik replied, working frantically at his control panel. Our targeting systems are failing. Below, hidden in caves and forests throughout the mountains, hundreds of June's disruption devices activated at once. The air filled with waves that scrambled Velari technology. As the alien ships struggled to restore their systems, hidden human fighters emerged from camouflaged positions. They carried weapons taken from Velari outposts during previous raids. Now they turned these weapons upward, firing at the vulnerable ships. They're everywhere, Trazik shouted as explosions rocked nearby ships. Our ground troops report attacks from all sides. Elzik stared in disbelief. The humans weren't just in the underground base. They were spread throughout the mountains in a pattern no scan had detected. Fall back, he ordered. Regroup and... A massive explosion cut off his words as a Velari cruiser crashed into the mountainside. The blast shook Elzic's command ship, knocking crew members off their feet. General Hygen watched from a hidden observation post as Velari ships fell from the sky or retreated in disarray. "The disruption field is holding," Jun reported through the radio. "Their weapons and navigation systems are completely disabled." "And our fighters?" Hygen asked. "Attacking as planned." "The Velari can't coordinate their defense without their central systems." Hygen nodded. "Keep pressing. Don't give them time to adapt." She turned to Taehyun. "Send the signal." Taehyun activated a special transmitter, not aimed at the Velari ships, but at human settlements across the planet. "People of Earth," the message began, broadcasting on all frequencies the Velari couldn't block. "The resistance has struck a major blow against our invaders. Their ships are falling. Their technology has been turned against them. Rise up now. Take back our world." From his damaged ship, Commander Elzic watched in growing horror as reports came in from around the planet. Human uprisings had begun everywhere at once. Velari outposts fell. Mining operations stopped. Patrol ships were under attack. "How is this happening?" he demanded. "How could they coordinate on this scale?" "I don't know, Commander," Trazic admitted. "Their tactics follow no logical pattern we can predict." For the first time since the invasion began, Elzic felt something new: doubt. "Order all remaining forces to defensive positions," he said quietly. "We need to reconsider our approach." The Velari invasion, once seemingly unstoppable, had reached its turning point. Humanity had awakened. 1 month after the battle in the Korean mountains, representatives from both sides met in the ruins of Seoul. The once proud city was half destroyed, but people had begun to rebuild. Taehyun walked alone into the meeting place, a simple building that had somehow survived the fighting. Inside, Commander Elzic waited with 2 guards. The Velari leader looked different now, his skin less bright, his posture less confident. "You asked for this meeting," Taehyun said calmly. Elzic nodded. "The situation has changed. We wish to discuss terms." "Terms?" Taehyun raised an eyebrow. "You mean surrender?" "An agreement," Elzic corrected. "Mutually beneficial." Outside the window, a damaged Velari ship flew low over the city, escorted by 2 human fighters using adapted Velari technology. The balance of power had shifted dramatically. "I'm listening," Taehyun said. In Haven, General Hygen watched the meeting through Taehyun's hidden camera. Around her stood Jun, Subin, and other resistance leaders. "Do you think they're serious?" Subin asked. "They have no choice," Hygen replied. "They've lost over half their ships. Their resource extraction has stopped. Their forces are under attack worldwide." Jun studied the Velari commander on the screen. They never expected to lose. Their whole strategy was based on the assumption that superior technology always wins. "They didn't account for human stubbornness," Subin said with a smile. "These are our terms," Taehyun told Commander Elzic, placing a tablet on the table between them. "The Velari will withdraw all forces from Earth immediately. You will recognize human sovereignty throughout our solar system." Elzic read the terms slowly. "And in return, we will not pursue you beyond Mars. We will not seek revenge for what you have done." "That is generous," Elzic said, sounding surprised. "We want peace," Taehyun said. "But it must be real peace this time, not the lie you offered before." The Velari commander was quiet for a long moment. "I must know," he finally said. "How did you defeat us? Our technology was superior. Our strategy was perfect." Taehyun looked directly at the alien. "You studied us for 30 years, but you only saw part of who we are. You saw our wars, our divisions, our technological limits." "We saw weakness," Elzic admitted. "No, you saw peace. Humans at peace are cooperative, sometimes divided, focused on small problems." Taehyun leaned forward. But humans united by a common threat become something else entirely. You become unpredictable, Elzik said. We become innovative, determined. We think in ways your logic can't follow. Taehyun stood up straight. Peace was our dream. Until you woke us up. 3 months later, the last Velari ship left Earth's orbit. People around the world watched the skies, many still holding weapons, not fully trusting that the aliens were really leaving. In Seoul, now the capital of Earth's unified government, Taehyun stood with his friends on a rooftop, watching the ships disappear into space. Do you think they'll come back? Subin asked. Not likely, Jun replied. Their reports will warn others about us, about how dangerous we are. General Haijin, now head of Earth's new defense force, nodded. They'll tell stories about the humans who defeated superior technology with creativity and determination. We should thank them, in a way, Taehyun said. The others looked at him in surprise. Before they came, we were divided, fighting over small differences. Now, we're united as never before. It was true. The invasion had changed humanity. Countries that once fought each other now worked together. Resources once used for war were directed toward rebuilding and advancing technology. Jun held up a small device, his newest creation, based on Velari technology, but improved through human innovation. We've learned so much, adapted their technology in ways they never imagined. And we've only just begun. Subin added, looking at the stars, where once they had seen only distant lights, now they saw future possibilities. General Haijin placed her hand on Taehyun's shoulder. What do we do now? We rebuild, he said. We prepare. And we remember what we learned about ourselves when pushed to the edge. As night fell, lights came on across the city, a symbol of humanity's resilience. The peace they had now wasn't the passive peace of before. It was a peace strengthened by knowing what they could become when challenged. Humanity was fully awake now, and the universe would never be the same.